The dollar should begin to stabilize in the coming weeks as we think the bulk of the Fed tapering concern is broadly priced in at this point. Now, there is still some uncertainty about what Jay Powell is going to say at Jackson Hole, exactly when they're going to announce this program. But the truth is we've gotten a lot of hints about tapering over the last 2 months. The market is increasingly prepared for this announcement, and that's what's been driving the dollar up. So now that we're closer to that announcement, it's more priced in. We should begin to see the dollar stabilize in our view.
And how much has the conversation now shifted towards the pace of tapering, and how much of that weighs on sentiment, also on the dollar?
The pace of tapering really is just as important as the announced date. What matters is not so much when they get going from this process, it's when they end this process. Tapering tells us when will the time open up for them to begin raising rates? And that's really what's going to drive currency markets. When the Fed is actually pushing up the funds rate, when that begins to be priced into markets. So we need to know both the announced date and the pace so we can calculate the end date. We think that that's going to be around the end of September 2022, giving Fed room to hike rates in Q4 of 2022 should they need to.
Q4 of 2022. The dollar got really strong. I think about 10 days ago, it went up to 93.5. And I was wondering, how would you rationalize the strength of the dollar at a time when a lot of emerging market central banks are getting out of the gate and hiking rates? And so how does that play out? Because typically, obviously, the way rate cycles work is the Fed gets out and then that helps the dollar. But the world is already moving in that direction.
Well, the dollar's been really driven up by two things. One is the Fed's tapering debate, which is weighing on emerging market currencies at the margin. And the other, of course, is the Delta variant outbreaks around the world. We're seeing fairly meaningful outbreaks in many countries, many of the major emerging market economies with liquid currencies, weighing on growth. And the market needs to price in tail risks that the Delta variant is more damaging to growth than we currently anticipate. Now, we think that those medical risks are going to begin to recede over the coming weeks and months. And so perhaps we're close to peak concern for the Delta variant. But, of course, it is uncertain and markets are pricing in that uncertainty. And I think that's really what has weighed on those EM currencies in addition to worries around the Fed's tapering process.